Hey guys, I'm Eric and this is Music Theory Breakdown. In this video, we're going to talk about one of the most confusing things on any chord chart, if you don't know what they are, inversions, sometimes also called slash chords. What I'm going to do for you today is I want to get you to a point where you feel totally comfortable when you see one of these, you know exactly what it is and you know exactly how to play it. Especially in the scenario that you're playing with a band, you really need to know what an inversion is if you play a piano, if you play acoustic guitar, or bass. I'm going to give you a real introductory lesson on chord theory and on intervals, something that I'm going to explain more in future videos. Like always, I'm going to teach you guys with an instrument in hand so you can take the concepts that you're seeing on the screen and start turning them into actual music. So with all of that said, let's get started. Alright guys, welcome back. So today we're talking inversions. These are sometimes also called slash chords. And what I'm going to give you today is sort of the run and gun explanation. There's a lot of back theory that can go into fully understanding an inversion, chord theory and intervals and all that kind of stuff. But what I want to do is give you a working definition so that when you are looking at a chord chart like this one, that you can see something like this A over C sharp, or these chords down here, the G over D. You can look at those and know exactly what chord that is and how to play it. I will do some other videos that will more fully explain kind of the theory behind everything in the future. But for now, this is going to give you a strong start. So first things first, make sure that you go watch the Nashville Number System series that I did, specifically videos 1 and 2. You're going to need those to understand what I'm talking about in this video. So with that out of the way, I've got to ask a real important question first. What exactly is a chord? Now, I had said this before that a chord is more than one note at a time, but I'm going to tell you now it's specifically 3 different notes played at the same time, okay? But it's not just 3 random different notes. It needs to be a root, a third, and a fifth, okay? And the language I'm using here, a third and fifth, that's the language of intervals, which, again, I'll make a whole video on that. But for now, I'm going to give you just a basic kind of introduction. So you'll remember this. This is our scale degrees, in this case, our C major scale. Okay, we're still going to be working with this. And something I want you to remember from this is we were working with the, remember, fixed distances, so whole and half steps. So similar principle going on here today. We're still using our scale degrees, and we're still using fixed distances, but this time it's going to be a different kind. Okay, so the most important interval there is a third. Okay, in this case, it's from scale degree 1 to scale degree 3. That's a third, that distance. Now, this isn't 3 half steps. This isn't 3 whole steps. This is from scale degree 1 to scale degree 3. So this distance is movable, okay, across the whole scale. So from scale degree 2 to scale degree 4, that's also a third. From scale degree 3 to scale degree 5, again, this is a third. Now, there are different kinds of thirds and lots of different kind of intervals. There are, seconds and fourths and sixths, and I'll explain those also in another video. But for now, third is the most important one, so we're going to talk about that first. And then the next most important one is the fifth, okay? And the fifth, you guessed it, is just from scale degree 1 to scale degree 5. So it's just a longer distance. Now, same principle though. This is, a distance that can move along the scale. So from scale degree 2 to scale degree 6, okay, that distance is still called a fifth. They're a fifth apart. Okay, so let's take our new knowledge of intervals and let's make some chords using roots, thirds, and fifths. Now, I didn't really explain what a root was fully, but it's a pretty simple concept. So right now we're going to be playing a C major chord. So our root note is C. Okay, if we want to play a D major chord, a root note would be D. Okay, so pretty straightforward. So we're going to start with our root note on scale degree 1. Okay, and I'm mostly going to be talking in scale degrees here. The C major scale down below is just kind of for illustration. Again, this works in all 12 keys. So scale degree 1, we're going to move up a third and land on scale degree 3. We're going to move up a fifth and land on scale degree 5. And the notes we've landed on in the key of C major are C, E, and G. Okay, and when we play those 3 notes together, okay, we're playing a C major chord. You get the idea. Now, as a quick side note, if you're a guitar player, you're probably looking down and going, okay, well, wait a second. When I play a C major chord, I'm playing at least 5 different notes. Okay, you are, that's true, but what you're only playing 3 different notes, but you're playing C, E, G, and you're playing another C and another E. So just some repeats of the notes that you see there. All right, so let's build another chord, but let's start on a different scale degree. So let's start on scale degree 4. So That means our first note, our root note, is going to be F in this case. All right, so we're going to move up a third, and that's going to get us to scale degree 6. Then we're going to move up a fifth, and we're going to land on scale degree 1. Okay, so the notes we have now are F, A, and C, and we play those together. We're playing an F major chord. Okay, so you're probably kind of getting the idea with this, but I made a little chart to hopefully kind of better illustrate this principle that this works across all 12 keys and all 7 chords in each key. So if I were to ask you to play me a 3 minor chord, you could look at this chart and go, okay, I need to play scale degree 3, 5, and 7, okay? And that's going to be my 3 minor chord, or my 5 major chords, scale degrees 5, 7, and 2. So you kind of get the idea. So this chart's going to be available in the Nashville Numbers cheat sheet, and what I've done here is I've expanded this into, instead of using the numbers, I just put it all into the key of C. And so again, if I said, play me the 6 minor chord or an A minor, to look at this and go, okay, A, C, and E. Those are the actual notes of the chord. So let's take another look at our C major chord here for a second. And we've got our C, E, and G, okay? Played like this, I'm playing a C chord in root position, okay? And what that means is that the lowest note here is a C, okay? The root of my chord is in the bass position. It's the lowest note, okay? Okay, so it's a root position, just normal C chord. But what if I were to swap this around and put the E note in the bass? So it's going to sound a little different. This is still a C major chord, right? We still have our root, 3rd and 5th, scale degree 1, 3, and 5. We're still playing a C, E, and G, but the lowest pitch, the lowest note in this chord now is an E, okay? Whereas before it was the C, now it's an E, okay? And all that's doing is just kind of changing the feel or the flavor of the chord, the kind of the way it sounds. Now, we could put the 5th down there as well, okay? In this case, now we've got G in the bass. And this is still a C major chord. Nothing of the nature of the chord has changed. We're just putting a different note in the bass position. And that is what an inversion is. Anytime you're playing a chord and the lowest note is not the root of the chord, if it's anything else, that you're playing an inverted chord. So with that in mind, when you're reading along on a chord chart, and now you see something like this, you say C over E. That's how you say that. Because the note on the left there is a C. You're playing a C chord, but you're playing it over an E as the lowest note, as the bass note, okay? So the idea is that the C chord is higher, it's the higher pitches above an E, which is the lower, that's the bass note, so C over E. Now, in the key of C, rather, that's scale degree 1, that's scale degree 3, so we're playing a 1 over 3, okay? Here is the other inversion I showed you. We've got scale degree 1, scale degree 5, so we're playing a 1 over 5. Now you'll notice each of these inversions, like I said, they have their own different flavor. They're there in order to create the sense of movement and motion within music. So they're very useful in songwriting, and that's why they're so common. You see them on chord charts, is because they create an interest while you're listening. Okay, so let's go back to our 10,000 Reasons, song that we were working on in the last video, and let's actually work on that first inversion, the A over C sharp, see if we can figure that out. Okay, so this song is in the key of D, and so we've got our D major scale up here with our scale degrees, and the chord we're playing we know is an A chord because it was A over C sharp, so that the A designates that it's an A chord, and in the key of D, that's chord 5, okay? So we're going to start with our A note, scale degree 5, we're going to move up a third to scale degree 7, in this case is C sharp, and then we're going to move a fifth to scale degree 2, which in this case is an E. So in order to spell and to play an A major chord, okay, we're going to be playing scale degree 5, 7, and 2, and in this case we're going to be playing A, C sharp, and E. Okay, but the chord that the chord chart was calling for was A over C sharp, so we know now to put the C sharp at the bottom. That's going to be the lowest one, and it's going to sound more like this. Okay, again, still an A chord, still scale degree 5, 7, and 2, still A, C sharp, and E, but we just put a different note at the bottom as the bass note. We've inverted the chord. Okay, so you're playing along, you and your buddies, you see an A / C sharp, you're playing an A chord with the C sharp in the bass note, and in this particular case, in the key of D, that is scale degree 5, and that is scale degree 7, so we are playing a 5 over 7. Okay, so one last thing, we're going to continue using this chord as the example, A over C sharp. When you are playing with a band, and especially when you have a bass player, the bass player typically by default is the lowest note in the group, right? And so as you're playing chords together with all of you, he's probably going to be almost for sure hitting that C sharp note when he sees that, or she. Gotta love the girl bass players. Bass is for everybody, okay? So sometimes just your bass player is playing that note, and the rest of the band is filling in the other notes in the rest of the chord, the A. Now, having said that, though, if you are a piano player, or specifically an acoustic guitar player, you really should be learning to play all these inversions, to recognize them. They sound beautiful, and ideally you are playing these inversions along with your bass player just to reinforce the feeling of the chord, okay? Like I said, they add a lot of interest, a lot of movement, so they're very, very helpful. So, with all that said, a couple of these charts you saw in this video and some others are available in my Nashville Numbers cheat sheet, which is free to you. You can go download that. There's a link below. It's in a JPEG or PDF, whichever you want. And with that, guys, I just want to say thanks for watching. I really appreciate it. Like, comment, subscribe. Specifically, comment. I love hearing from you guys. If you feel like something was working really well, like let me know. Or if you feel like something could have been clearer, I want to hear that. I'm really committed. I want to make the best kind of content that I can. So, with all that said, again, just thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you learned something. And I really hope to see you in the next video.